Now, it's the Scam of the Week.
I'm Tommie Lee, and this is the Scam of the Week. Marjorie Stephens joining us from the Better Business Bureau of Northern Indiana. Marjorie, Happy New Year, and welcome back to the station's airwaves.
Boy, I've missed you. Happy New Year to you and to everyone out there.
Let's talk about the year that was in 2020. We had a lot of scams that came up, especially with the coronavirus. What were some of the biggest ones that came your way at the BBB?
Okay, well, one of the biggest ones was the pet scam, where people wanted to buy a puppy and they did it online, and it was a pretty easy year for a lot of the scammers to get what they needed, because they didn't want to meet in person, because of social distancing and wearing masks and the pandemic. And so a lot of people were really, for lack of a better word, willing to have a pet, but wanted to kind of fell along with what the scammers wanted. And the average loss was $750 to those people. They might send them a deposit, and then they say, well, we were supposed to meet, but because of the pandemic, we're not going to meet. So you need more money. And then they needed money for carriers, and they needed money for shots, and it just kept going on and on. So the puppy scams were really big.
I can see where that would happen, because I know pet adoptions were one of the things I wrote a lot of news stories about in 2020, because a lot of people were looking to bring animals home during the year. So
they were, and and I think it was probably a companionship thing, and they preyed on the companionship that people needed, especially people who didn't have anyone at home with them. Yeah. And so I think it was one. But another one that it's not really surprising, Tommy, would be the online scams. Yeah. A lot of online scams, mostly shopping. I know for myself, as a person on Facebook, and I'm very careful on a lot of these, but, things will pop up because they know your interest, and, go to this website. I didn't touch it, never went to them. But that's another thing where there were a lot of issues too, were the online scams. So those were really the top two scams. And then, of course, anything to do with COVID or the checks, the stimulus checks. People were opening emails, expecting something that would cause malware.
And that goes back to something that we've talked about previously a lot, and that is know the source. It's really important, especially when you get something that pretends to be from the government, and the beginning of the email address looks like it might be. Yes. But then you look and it's a .xyz or something like that. Exactly. There's a lot of untrusted sources like that, and when you see stuff like that, that's an immediate red flag, and you should just delete it.
It absolutely is. And the other thing people can do is hover over that link to see what it really is. Mm-hmm. And you're right. I mean, people just need to take the time, as we always say, take the time and look into it. What's another 15 or 20 minutes of research? Who is the company? Do they have a physical address? And can you go on Google and find that physical address? Do they have a phone number? It's just like you would be researching for a job. Take some time and really look into that.
And like we always say, if it looks like it's too good to be true, it probably is.
You're absolutely correct, Tommy.
All right. And once again, if people have any questions or think that they might have been targeted by a scammer, the best ways to get in touch with the Better Business Bureau are what?
Yes, it's you can get with us at 800-552-4631. And we are working, most of our staff is still working remotely during the pandemic, but we are pretty quick at getting back to everyone. We're answering the calls that come in. So, don't hesitate to give us a call, and we'll do what we can.
All right. Thank you very much. Marjorie Stephens with the Better Business Bureau. So nice to talk to you again, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Tommy. Take care.
Podcasts by Federated Media. Podcasts by Federated Media.